What is the correct etiquette in 2025 and beyond for social media for dentists?
The biggest shortcut a lot of social media questions get would be, we tell a lot of docs, this is social media. It's social in nature. So your job is not to directly sell 24/7. The most extreme version of yourself is going to get the most attention. So you might get, oh, look, I'm getting a lot of views. But going back to what I said earlier, it's like, well, what are people thinking when they see this?
I saw a rant on Facebook. Obviously, it was on Facebook. Where else do rants belong, right? So it was saying what has happened to our profession? What has happened to our beloved dentistry? The kind of crap we're seeing on social media. And this dentist was basically vexing about the way that he thinks young dentists are portraying themselves on social media. This anonymous poster, of course, was saying we're being clowns. We are disrespecting patients. We're doing all sorts of unsavory things to get views and likes. So, Protrusive, is this the death of professionalism in dentistry? Is social media a disease? Is there a proper way to conduct yourself on social media? Or is a bit of humor and banter and a bit of lightheartedness acceptable? I don't know. I'm a bit of an idiot on social media sometimes, but I know someone who does know. Today we've got our guest, Joseph Lucido from the States, and I asked him all these tough questions. He knows a thing or two about social media. So in this episode, you will find out what is the proper way to conduct yourself and whether Joseph thinks there is a space for idiots like me. Hello, Protrusive. I'm Jazz Galati and welcome back to your favorite dental podcast. This is an interference cast. This is a non-clinical arm of the podcast. Hope you enjoy the main interview and I'll catch you in the outro. Joseph Lucido, welcome to the Protrusive Dental Podcast. For those who are listening right now, Joseph is sat in this wonderful, you've got this wonderful background, that common look of the books behind you, so it makes you look like you've got so much authority and he totally looks badass. But I had to ask him, is this real or is it fake? And actually he reached out, man. This is a very beautiful library behind you. Joseph, welcome to the show, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
Tell us about yourself. So you're not a dentist, but tell me how you are connected to dentistry. And what makes you an authority to talk about social media for dentists today, which I'm really excited to get into?
Sure. Probably starting around 8 years old, I wanted to be a dentist. Just being in the dental office, I always loved getting my teeth cleaned. I had a few uncles that were dentists, and it was just exciting for me. And then just through my education, formally marketing degree, and then half of the books behind you are on marketing or psychology. And then it comes down to just different reps over and over and over on different platforms with docs, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work. I guess that gives me, I don't know about the authority, but it gives me a pretty sharp edge on, what works and what doesn't.
Well, I think that does give you authority. The fact that you have skin in the game, the fact that you work with people on this, so you totally have the authority. But interesting title we've opted for, right? Social media clown or healthcare professional. I really like this. When I first read it, I thought, oh crap, he's on to me. He's seen my videos, right? Because sometimes I'm a bit of a clown, right? And sometimes I'm very professional. And so I'm really looking for what your thoughts are on this. So I guess the first place to start is, what is the correct etiquette in 2025 and beyond for social media for dentists? And so it's a big topic and we can break it down and go any way you like.
Yeah, there's going to be a bunch of nuance to it, but the biggest shortcut a lot of social media questions get would be, what is the potential patient, the person viewing this, the followers, what are they going to think after seeing whatever I post? And that should just be your starting point for everything social media related. And so before you post, you want to be intentional in thinking. Now, it becomes intuitive after a while to do it the right way, second nature. But that's just kind of from an etiquette standpoint. We want to be thinking, I don't want to post anything that's too controversial or too polarizing. And now I'm talking specifically through the lens of a healthcare professional. If you're trying to get attention some other way, that's fine. But if we're talking about being a professional in healthcare, we don't want to talk about politics or religion. Avoiding these topics can alienate 50% or more of your audience. And it also kind of speaks to your self-awareness. You probably shouldn't be posting this from a business perspective. Arguing online, never a good look. Taking a combative stance. Anyone who sees that, even if you're defending yourself, even if you're 100% in the right, that's not what you want to do from an etiquette standpoint. And then we tell a lot of docs, this is social media. It's social in nature. So your job is not to directly sell 24/7. Everyone's seen the doc that posts and all they're doing is selling, and you're not going to follow them. There's other forms of marketing.
So what you mean by that is come in for a new patient Invisalign offer and just banging on about it every single day, and that's it. It's like a repeat.
Even every other post is too much. And what we would even argue is the way that we operated is we have the doc say, you do nothing from an office level organically. You should be fun, entertaining, posting like that. And then we'll take care of the direct selling, because that's what our team has experience in. You don't have, experience in how do I sell something specifically, the language that needs to be used, the call to actions, where the buttons go. Like, that is so outside of your purview. But what's inside of you, you're an expert on you in your office. That's what you should be posting about.
And I think one thing that perhaps I should have asked, and I will now, is taking a step back. I think I went too deep too soon. I think you're already, I'm trying to understand what you're trying to say. And I think what we can learn is, like I said, building on that correct etiquette and top mistakes we make. Now we are at a stage where virtually every dental practice has a website, I would imagine, okay? But not all dentists have a social media presence. But then those that do, a significant majority of those will probably be, you'll post on 4th of July and then you'll post on Halloween and then you just completely abandon it, right? And so let's tackle that for a second. Do we need a social media presence in this day and age to be a thriving clinic? Because in the past, it was like, word of mouth is the best, and patients refer other patients of the similar kind of caliber and likeness, which works well for clinics. What do you think about that question of the need of social media for every practice?
So I think practices still, word of mouth referrals, those are the best practices. Practices where it's in the front door, out the back door, they're always going to be chasing the new patients. But when it comes to social media, the effort that is required for the return on that investment, if it's posting once a month, having someone in your office just post strategically once a month, because what people are really doing nowadays is they're just checking to see if you have a pulse. And yes, we can get information from your website, but if you have an Instagram account or a Facebook account, you can do the bare minimum. And what people are doing is verifying. And it also gives the opportunity to see what's it look like inside of the practice, who works there, what are other patients saying. And that's so important, because in a day when people are buying, they're going to be looking at multiple different dentists. Even if from a word of mouth standpoint, they recommend you and someone searches the internet. Well, social media has an effect where you show up on the internet. Some of your social media accounts will just show up. And just by checking that box at a reasonably high level, like I said, with minimal effort, kind of verifies that, hey, I'm a professional. It just gives you an opportunity to make a great first impression outside of your website.
I'm aware that, myself included, I had to pick a surgeon for my shoulder op, right? And so patients will Google their practitioner, right? Or they're thinking in their town they want to get teeth straightening, or just they're relocated, they're looking for a family dentist, and as well as asking friends and whatnot and their colleagues in a new workplace, for example, they will Google who's best near me, or they might get a hunch of this clinician I've heard good things about, let me now Google their name, right? And so do you think the behavior has now changed, so that the quote unquote younger folk are, instead of going to Google, they're actually just searching on Instagram or searching on TikTok? I don't know. You tell me. What was your insight showing, and based on how important that presence is relative, let's say, to the website presence and what shows on Google?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to guess. It's like just the numbers are showing the search volume going up. I think it's a very well-known fact that YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world. But then after that, you are going to be seeing Instagram, Facebook. People are checking those boxes and looking. And just by having consistency across all of those, like, you are going to have the opportunity to put your best foot forward again. So we don't even have to guess. That is 100% happening. We'll say younger folk, but younger I'm starting to date. I'm getting a little old myself. So younger folk being 50 and under is completely applicable in this situation.
And when it comes to social media, like, one advice that I took on board is trying not to be great on all the platforms. Pick one platform at a time and try and make a presence, and whatever your goal might be to work on there before you then go elsewhere. Because then what you are is that you have this like dead X profile that you never post on, but it just exists, and it's like, and it doesn't reflect well on you or your clinic, for example. Whereas you might as well not have it. Is that what you think as well?
Well, I mean, I like to have everyone, let's run it through someone else's, their perspective. If I see an account, whatever it is, X, Facebook, Instagram, and they haven't posted in 8 months, what are your thoughts? Like, oh, they can't keep up with this. Oh, maybe is this place no longer open? It just puts a seed of doubt that could be completely removed if you didn't even have it or if you kept up with it. But no, that's exactly right. I encourage docs to, let's do the main ones. Let's do Facebook and Instagram. And once we've proven that we've got a great system in place to, and by system, I mean someone at the office level putting out great content consistently on those, and then you can explore into others. But those are going to be the main ones that you want to hit.
Compared to website, like if a website has extreme high importance, it's where you have your testimonials, it's where you have the contact details, it's where you have like the first place that potential patients see. Is Instagram or a named social media platform that you want to perhaps name drop? I don't know. Like, how important is it relative to the website presence?
People are going to go different places for different things. Instagram, they're going to be looking extremely visual of what they want. On a website, you have the opportunity to highlight, exactly what someone is looking for. So if we think of someone who's doing this great, Dr. Brian Harris out of, I think it's Phoenix, he is highlighting exactly what the patient experience looks like. And then you also have high profile celebrities who have just gotten their teeth done. He just does an unbelievable job of painting a picture for you. And you say, oh, I could go to that office. I know what it's like. Oh, there's the front desk person. So that is more what the website is for, is like information and kind of guiding people through, here's what it's going to be like to be a patient here. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, you have an option to entertain and show more of your personality there. Just humanizing yourself is a good way to think about it. But yeah, they all serve different purposes. But at the end of the day, we want to paint you, the doc, in the best light possible.
What if you like to be, I mean, yes, I agree, religion and politics, that kind of stuff, things that are perhaps more appropriate on your personal profile, not on your business profile.
Right.
But I see some hilarious, there's two really funny US docs. I'll find their name and I'll put them in the description. But they make really funny content that's perhaps maybe borderline not appropriate what dentists talk about, but they do it in a very nice way. They do it not in a disgusting way or anything like that. It's like, it's good humor, and I love it. I love what they do. I don't know if patients resonate with that, but in terms of as a dentist looking at it, it's like, it's real talk, it's hilarious. Is there a place for being funny and being a clown on social media? Because that could be a true representation of yourself and your values and who you want to attract. Or do you feel that, again, that's something that belongs on your personal profile? I'm sure you can think of some very successful social media accounts of dentists, doctors who are putting out very funny scenarios. There's one whereby the guy's like blind. He's a dentist, is blind. He's walking in the clinic. I don't know if you've seen this. He's walking in the clinic and the patient's like, wait, what the hell's going on? It was like, well, you're the one who said you don't want any x-rays, right? So it's like, you're doing the whole thing blind, right? And so I, as a dentist, I resonated so much with that. But that's also being seen by the members of public.
Right. I think the idea of entertainment is a loaded word. And there's a lot of different ways to be entertaining. And that's a very clever way to be like, oh, you don't want x-rays, but this is, they're giving the analogy of what it would be like to operate without them. It's going to resonate with more docs than it will with patients, but at the same time, it's going to hit a lot of patients. And I think you hit the nail.
It might then get rid of some patients who actually, I don't believe in x-rays. I'm not going to go here. And you know what? That's a win for the dentist, and that's a win for the patient.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of your personality. If you are funny, if you are witty, then yes, being in line, doing that. And this is where that line, and there's always going to be edge cases of someone who does have a big personality, and that being entertaining is what they're going to do. But entertaining being a loaded word, most people hear entertaining and they think like shocking, in your face comedy. Well, the reality of the situation is you can be educational, you could be interesting, novel, it could be heartwarming, you could do storytelling, really visual. There's a lot of ways to be entertaining. Like Planet Earth, is a great example of this. It's not funny at all. It's very entertaining. It's very educational. It's very visual. Completely different than, someone who gets a lot of attention. Like think of Britney Spears. She got a ton of attention for Melting Down. Now, yes, she got a ton of views. That's not what you're looking for, so that's not great. And I tell people all the time, the most extreme version of yourself is going to get the most attention. So you might get, oh, look, I'm getting a lot of views, but going back to what I said earlier, it's like, well, what are people thinking when they see this? Like if you are a clown on social media and you're dancing and that's not your personality, or you're making a little, some jokes that are a little bit too far, then that's going to deter people. And the problem is you're never going to know that you didn't get them. Because when you deter people, like it's not like they call and say, I'm not doing business with you. They just go somewhere else. So operating on that line of entertainment without being extreme is the fine line that, you don't want to cross.
I think it boils down to what kind of frame you want to put on yourself. And I use that word intentionally because something that one of my mentors, Dr. Michael Melkers, taught me. He was presenting in London. He said something really interesting. He said he doesn't actually connect with their patients in terms of knowing the name of their dog and family and that kind of stuff. The frame he puts on is like highly professional. I'm here to listen to you and diagnose and help and co-diagnosis and helping you. Whereas I'm very much like, hey, how's your daughter's football game going kind of thing. So I pick my frame. I like to be the friendly neighborhood dentist kind of frame. But I really, when he mentioned that, I was like, hey, that's true, and the kind of clientele he attracts and kind of, plans he might be doing will be fitting to that kind of professional frame. And some patients will resonate and enjoy that more, whereas some patients will get very put off by this friendly dentist, and they're actually looking for someone who's more of a surgeon than the friendly dentist. And so I guess the answer, there's no right or wrong answer, I think, Joseph. I think the worst thing you could do is not choose which frame you're going for, right?
Correct. And I would say there is a right or wrong, because you hit the nail on the head. You speak jovially, you're talking about, sports teams and these different things. When people come in there, that's what they're going to expect. And then you don't have to change personalities in the office. Like I do like the very professional, very straightforward medical professional who is going to help me with anything that I have going on with my teeth. No nonsense, down to business. And so when I'm looking at docs on the internet, I want their content to be about that. Like you are an expert and you're no nonsense, and that's going to attract patients like me. And at the end of the day, you want to attract patients that you enjoy working with. There's nothing worse than attracting a bunch of patients that are looking for a different experience. And then there's just this subtle disconnect. And when that disconnect happens, that's when you see patients leaving because you don't have a great relationship with the doc, because it's almost like a mini bait and switch, but docs are like, well, I don't understand. They came in. It's like, well, you're behaving differently online than you are in the practice. And it creates this disconnect that you're not looking for.
It reminds me of something. There's I think it was an Australian dentist. His name was Paddy Lund. And I think he maybe operates, but he used to, in the early noughties, he used to teach and do courses about that generation of marketing we used to have. And I think he wrote this book about dentists kind of like firing your patients in a way that you eventually kick out the patient that you don't share the same values as you, and eventually you'll become a liberated and happier professional. And one thing he teaches is like, if you are passionate about football or soccer, that you'll have the jersey of the team hung up there, and this is the kind of like, you're putting it out there that these are kind of patients I want and whatnot. And eventually, with time and experience, the list of your patients ends up reflecting you. And I liked to think of it like that. And I think what you said there is you just have to decide, okay, what kind of person you're going for, and be authentic. It's all about being authentic and not doing something for the sake of social media and then patients coming in and saying, wait, hang on a minute, this was a different person to social media. But if you are presenting the same way in social media, you know what you're going to get. And as long as it aligns with your values, then that, I think, will lead to a happier practitioner and actually get more fulfillment from their work. Hello, YouTube Protrusive. I know you're watching on YouTube, and I hope you're enjoying this episode so far. But I wanted to highlight, in case you don't know yet, we have an amazing viewing experience on protrusive.app, our website, our network, our platform. So I just want to spend a minute to show you what this looks like. On the left side, you see the navigation, and when you join the app, you get a 1-minute video tour of the entire network. Now, in terms of where the magic happens, that's in the Protrusive community, because you might come for the content, but you'll stay for the community of the nicest and geekiest dentists in the world. We have all these polls, we have a chat group, there's always active chats and dentists helping dentists. And really what I want to do is create a really supportive environment that's not like the environment we have on Facebook, and is built on the values of niceness and geekiness. If you are nice and geeky, you belong here. Now, to make this a safe space, we have a manual process of approval. We actually verify that you are a dental professional before you get in here. So we have hundreds of applicants a day. So if it's been about 2 days and you haven't heard anything, either something's in your junk or you need to reach out. If you're still waiting to join your tribe, email marie@protrusive.co.uk. That's MARI@protrusive.co.uk, and she'll investigate what's happened. Now, all the videos you have on YouTube are also on here, but you actually have some extra ones for free that you don't have on YouTube. So you get some bonus content that's not on YouTube. And actually for the future, I'm not taking things out of YouTube, but some things are not appropriate for the wider public. And I want to sort of safeguard that information, which is like dentist talk, if you like. So that's why a lot of the content is only here and not on YouTube. So you're kind of missing out if you're not on here. That's why I'd love for you to join there. And if you join one of our paid plans, then what you get is access to the CE quiz, like this one, and you can get CPD or CE certificates. And also you get our premium notes. So these are a great aid memoir or revision for an episode to really cement your learning. And whilst we have ads and YouTube places ads on YouTube, we don't have that on our network. So for the paid plan, you get to see all of the premium notes without any of the ads. And of course, you get to support Team Protrusive and help us to continue what we're doing. I'm just going to gloss over the Protrusive Vault, which has all our infographics and downloadables. These are all our masterclasses at this moment in time, and we're always planning to add more. And if you look at it, there's about 1, 2, 3, it's about 7 of them. But actually, if you look at the replay section, some of the live masterclasses that I've done and some of the training that people pay for on other websites is all on there, included as part of the masterclass subscription. And if you're a student, don't fear, we have a special section for you with all the student notes, which anyone can access. So for example, here is one on exodontia. So it's all there waiting for you on Protrusive Guidance. Please head over to the website, which is protrusive.app. Make an account on your browser. This could be Safari, Chrome, however you want to do it. And once you've made your login, then you can download the iOS or Android app and then log in through there. So the reason to make the subscription primarily on the website first is that you get access to a free trial, which you don't get if you make an account on Android, iOS. If you make it on the website, you get access to the free trial, and you get our best price if you sign up through protrusive.app. So our best deals and free trials are only on protrusive.app. Of course, we always put the link below in the description. And thank you so much for enjoying our videos on YouTube. But it's now finally time to level up your experience. Back to the episode.
Yeah, when you say it like that, it sounds so easy. But yeah, it's just be yourself, and and you're going to attract the people that's coming in there. We call it humanizing yourself. A great way to think about it is, for example, if you're a dentist and you like to golf, every now and then posting about golf, that's 100% acceptable, because then other people see, oh, my dentist is a golfer. Hey, I'm a golfer. I like this. And you go into his office and, maybe he's got some places he's been. That's cool. Now, if you post every week about golfing, then the patient thinks, all this guy does is golf. He probably knows more about golfing than dentistry. He doesn't want to be here. He just wants to be golfing. So you do have to think of it through that, but you do want your personality to come out through your social media. I mean, like you mentioned, sports are one of the big. If you are a diehard, who's your soccer team over there?
Manchester United. We've had very bad seasons, unfortunately. I'm gonna have to cut that bit out of the podcast. It's that bad of the season we had. Anyway, I'm just kidding.
No, yeah, historically one of the worst ones we've ever seen. Yeah, big soccer fan. But if you put that out there, other people are going to resonate with that. And guess what? Then eventually you have an office filled with Manchester United fans. And even if you get some Chelsea or Liverpool fans in there's some banter going back and forth, but there's some conversational thing. And one big thing is we let docs know on social media, you should be shopping or supporting local when you can, letting people know that, because let's say you go to a restaurant that's right down the street from your office and then you post about it. Well, guess what? Everyone that goes there, they tag you, they do it. They have a bunch of people that are going to come there too. And then you're in the community as well. So there's a lot of opportunities to be authentic, which is I think an overused word in social media, but hey, just be yourself and then highlight the things where possible. And you're going to get people that really enjoy coming to your practice.
You mentioned about not oversharing the whole personal side. I guess it goes without saying that if you want to do the personal stuff on Instagram, have your own personal account and have a separate account for work. Although some people I've seen just combine it, right? They just post about their kids and stuff, and then, oh, here's a smile maker I did the other day. What is your stance and advice to dentists who are thinking about, should I have 2 accounts or should I just have one and just that's the whole package? You get me, baby. You get the whole package.
My advice is 2 separate accounts, just because one needs to be business related, and you don't want to be posting your kids, and make it a private account, because if someone is a patient and I've been in many doctors' weddings, like I've become friends with a lot of these docs. It's just, there's so many great people in the industry, and they follow me on my personal account. And then we also have a business account. But what I'm putting out personally shouldn't be shared with everyone that comes to my practice. So yes, I would say having 2 different accounts is 1,000% is what I would recommend.
Fine. That's a very clear recommendation. I agree with you. Another thing that's crossed my mind is with social media, the algorithms and the way it all works, is that you have potential to make a good piece of content and it can be seen, like a couple of my reels have had over 1 million views, right? And it's great. Like, oh, wow, this is cool and stuff. Now, when clinicians and they're trying to appeal and raise awareness to patients and attract a certain type of patient, for example, and they do a piece of content that, blows up and stuff. But actually, when you talk about, okay, well, how many inquiries did this lead to? 1 or 0 or that kind of stuff, right? Because it's going to the world. And if your practice is in Phoenix, Arizona, and someone in Jakarta in Indonesia is seeing this and they're laughing and they liked it and stuff and they share it to their friends, but it's not really benefited you. So what is the sort of strategy that you advise dentists to do? Because their main goal is not necessarily to entertain, and you can't deposit likes into the bank. You got to actually be able to be relevant for your local community and solve problems for your local community. How does that change the way that you play the game of social media?
So I'm going to steal that. You can't deposit likes in your bank account, because I've never heard that. And that's a good one right there. What I will say is there's nothing wrong with that. But what is your expectation and how did you get it? Did you go viral because you put something so outrageous out there that you got it? But let's say you just put out something that was great, clever, whatever it was, and it went viral. There's going to be value to that, because if 1 million people are seeing it all over the world, that means the number of people seeing it in your local area is also going to be high. That's just how we think about it. Great content's great content. And when it comes to the algorithm, highly debated topic, the shortcut for thinking on how the algorithm works, what am I going to do that is rewarded by the platform? So Google's first algorithm was basically how many websites you were linked to. And now they have hundreds of things that go into that. So what is social media rewarding at this time? It's always going to be changing. But if you always can look around and look at other people's content that's doing well, that's a clear indication that's what that particular platform is rewarding at this time.
Fine. That helps. And I think as long as there's good content, it's good content and it can only help you. But when you're talking to your clients and dentists about making a difference and actually what kind of content do you tell dentists to make? Like they're looking for you for advice. Should we just make, how to brush your teeth better? We're doing a fall promotion or July the 4th promotion. Like what kind of content is good? And we'll segue from that into the do's and don'ts as a final segment of this podcast. But what kind of, so someone's listened to this and they thought, you know what, Jazz and Joseph are right. I need to have an Instagram presence. Let me reactivate mine. Let me make one for my clinic. Let me make one for me as an associate or a practice owner and talk about my work. Okay. I'm passionate about it. But then they're like, okay, I don't know what to talk about. I need some ideas. Nowadays with ChatGPT and stuff, look, you just need to give the right prompts. You'll get the ideas.
Right.
But that still needs a expert touch and experience touch. So with that in mind, what kind of content should colleagues be making?
There's so much nuance to this question. I will try and be brief. So highlighting your strengths. So thinking about the content that you're putting out. If you are whatever type of dentist you are, even if you're a general dentist, like why are you good? Highlighting your professionalism. We let people know highlighting patients, because there's always going to be this ratio. You don't want to just always highlight patients. You always don't want to highlight staff. And you want to have this blend of it. But you want to paint a picture of what it's like a day in the life. It's almost like a mini reality TV show of what your social media looks like. Like, oh, I can see these patients. Oh, I can see new equipment, whatever it is. We just want to make sure that it's your personality being super important and the personality of your office. So you're saying, what do I need to post? I think it's more, what is the blend that I need to post? And it's letting people know, these are the type of patients that are here. This is the type of staff that's here. This is what I'm like personally. This is what I'm like professionally. And then you have just the general, throughout the year, like, oh, it is Halloween. Oh, it is Christmas. And then you can mix those things in. You'll never be short on content. And then we actually it's a completely free social media calendar that we put out every single month, because it's just, here's what you could post every single day of the week. And it's just content ideas. And I know ChatGPT has some as well, but the amount of content that you could post is really, really unlimited. But
so when you've covered there what we could post, and like there's so much out there, but the number one thing I hear from colleagues, right, especially those who may be a little bit older, and it's like, how do you find the time? And so that's the probably the biggest objection is time. So what's your advice to colleagues who think like, where do you find the time?
Where do you find the time? This is something that it depends on the person. If the person's on social media and they're posting on their personal, we can carve out that time pretty easily. But for docs who are not consistently on it or posting, one of the easiest things in the world, because every doc is busy, we know that, they need to be running a business, production, that is the most important. This is something that we typically offload to front desk staff. And you can work with them and, you do not have to pay them much to do this because it's so native to someone who is younger. When we think of it like that, you can also have content days where, hey, once a month or once a quarter, you're going to get these 20 different pieces of content. And that way it's not a every single day grind. We have some practices that twice a year, 2 times a year, they have a photographer and videographer come in. And you can even do this with just an iPhone, and they'll have a list of like, we are going to get these 20 photos, and that is going to be our post for the next 6 months. And when it's like, hey, can I do content 2 times a year, then the lift all of a sudden seems a lot less heavy versus what am I going to post every 3 days? That can just be exhausting. So it's more of like we know what to post. Now, if you're talking about the tactical, how do we do it? Just batch it. Batch it. If it's not your thing, outsource it to someone on your team and then batch it, a couple times a year, and you're still going to get the outcome.
I think a lot of people fall into the trap of they know it's a good idea, they know you should be doing it, but they don't have that delegation conversation or some basic training or imparting the values of what we want to do, and then letting someone in the team and trusting someone in the team to just go over and then revise it and to have some sort of intention or being proactive about it. So it's good that we're talking about this. So let's then talk about do's and don'ts. Let's hear Joseph's do's and don'ts when it comes to having a presence as a dentist on social media.
I'm such a stickler on when I see content, it's impossible for me not to view it from every different angle. So we want to start with that. We'll say the do's and don'ts. Like, let's take care of the very basic ones first. Make sure your environment's clean. Don't ever show a dirty break room. I can't tell you how many be like, oh, it's someone's birthday and there's just, food wrappers in the background. I'm like, when I see that, it's like, I don't need to be seeing the back of the house like that. And a patient doesn't either, because you don't know how they're going to judge you. So just making sure everything's clean. And, that's a big do's and don'ts, is making sure everything is in order and it looks great.
It's like a risk assessment. Like, we when you in a practice, you have to risk assess every little thing, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's before you hit record, it's kind of like a risk assessment. You have to do, okay, what could someone think about this? What could someone think about that? And setting the scene before you press that record button.
Right. No, that's exactly right. And, if you were going to, this is, say, someone new's only impression of your business, they're going to analyze that too. And they might not externalize it like we do. It's like, well, if they can't even take care of a clean break room, like, do they have clean ops? Like, are they good hygienists? Like, this is, do I really want to go here? All of that goes to their mind in 2 seconds and they don't even realize it. They just know, maybe this isn't the dentist for me. So Step 1, make sure everything is just clean, organized, highly professional, especially, for any photos that you're going to be posting. And then do's and don'ts, it's going to be a lot of the things that we covered. Not selling, not acting crazy, versus running it through the filter of how are people going to view me in this situation? Like, once they see this post, are they more or less likely to go on the internet and make an appointment or call me? It's a very easy heuristic to run through.
What's the number one thing a clinic could do to help see results from their social media? I.e., if their aim is, okay, we'd like to see more new patients every month to keep a healthy flow of patients and be able to do the kind of work that we've trained to do, and we want to make sure all our associates are full of patients. What's the number one Pareto principle? The 20% of things that you do that make the 80% of the difference. What are the Pareto principles of social media to actually get bums on seats?
Yeah, I think it's very easy. It's, you want to be posting content about satisfied patients. One of the easiest things for us to think about is, so if we're working with, say, a peds practice and we know the household decision maker, the majority of the time is going to be a female from ages 25 to 50. And they've got 2 or 3 kids, and it's like, the more content we can post about them being satisfied, there's a saying in business, it's like, how many satisfied referrals how many satisfied reviews would you need to see to be convinced that I do a good job? And, even in our business, like, when we engage with clients, it's like, here's a list, a wall of 100 testimonials. And if you don't believe any, and reach out to any of them if you want. And no one's ever really reaching out to a lot of these people. But if you think about it at a practice level, if all they see on their social media is happy patients like them, that's the number one thing that most people, well, the shortcut going to be, they clearly know what they're doing with people just like me and they're happy. I would also be happy. So that's the Pareto principle of, what do I need to be posting to get bums in seats, as you so eloquently put it.
I think it makes so much sense. Social proof. It's always about that.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love this little overview of social media. Joseph, how can we learn more from you? How can we follow you? How can we see what you get up to, my friend?
I mean, I'm just here putting the good word out. I did mention the social media calendar, which is apt for this episode. It's something that we put out every single month for free, and it just goes to OMs, and it's like gives them idea, inspiration, makes it easier for them to it's not cookie cutter. It is a framework, and then you put your customization into it. And then the other biggest thing is, I think it's been viewed a couple thousand times in the last month, is we have a free, it's kind of everything you need to know about marketing. That marketing plan, it's the biggest CE that we get paid to teach. And it's just everything that you'd ever want to know about marketing, including social media, how to pick a provider, just kind of marketing theory and how we got to where we're at today in 2025 in the marketing landscape. So yeah, that's it.
Amazing. If you send me that, I'll put the link in the show notes.
Sounds great.
Yeah, amazing. Well, thanks for the time and helping us to understand the value of social media, but also the etiquette. And I guess whether someone decides they still want to be a clown or not, as long as they feel it's the right, it's in line with their value, is speaking correctly, but also not in a way that's going to make people think what on earth is happening in this clinic, and not causing adverse effects without proper risk assessment. We delved quite deep into that, but as long as everything is authentic and purposeful, and someone's actually put some thought in. It's like when you're going out, like it's nice for someone to say that, okay, whatever they're wearing, they've put a little bit of thought behind it, right? Yeah. I'm not big, I'm the worst person at clothing myself and stuff, but my wife says, look, at least the minimum, okay? Someone should say, okay, at least he thought about it a little bit, right? The way you dress your social media should be the same. So Joseph, thanks so much for driving that home, my friend.
Oh, thank you.
Amazing.
Well, there we have it, guys. Thank you so much for listening all the way to the end. About 99% of our episodes are eligible for CPD. This one isn't. But I hope you gained value. I hope you get an idea of how to conduct yourself on social media, or inspired you to behave in a certain way, or implement some strategies that we discussed today. Please do not forget to hit that subscribe button. It really means a lot. I just want to take a moment to also thank Team Protrusive for all their hard work. I'll put all the show links so you can reach out to Joseph below. And for all of the nicest and geekiest dentists in the world and Protrusive guidance, thanks for making it a lovely community. And if you're not already on this community, check out protrusive.app to join us. Protrusive, I'll catch you same time, same place next week. Bye for now.